So this particular example holds a short text which is held in a data file containing hidden markers which can actually be inserted using an editing mode. Let's just have a quick look at this example called My Camera, which is a very simple basic recount in English. We've opted to put separate paragraphs on individual pages accompanied by several photographs. And I can actually toggle between the book mode or a simple text mode purely by clicking on the icon here. Let's put it back to being a book. And similarly, I can change the backgrounds. Can even make it look like chalk on a blackboard if I want to. So, back to the book. In any top-down approach to language learning, context is always the starting point. And for this reason, we'll typically browse through the book first and discuss the photos in L1 language. In my case, that's German in the German-speaking region of Switzerland. So we'll typically go with the learners through, have a look what they already know, whether they know what these particular animals are in their own language, which is not always something you can assume. And we'll have a good deal of talk about and around the text before we even start. If I want to draw attention to any one particular photograph, I can click on it and it will come up in more detail together with the caption. Sort of thing that we're used to on websites nowadays, of course. So now we are perhaps prepared to look at the text in some detail. So the first thing I can actually do is I can adjust the size of it to make it more visible in a projector situation or whiteboard in a classroom. And the first thing I'll do is to click on this grey building brick here, and you'll notice, I'll just put it back into plain text, the words separate out into word groups, and these word groups can be grouped in any manner that you see would consider sensible. I'm using a functional grammar scheme. What this does tend to support the learners in is when they read aloud to avoid concentrating too much on single words and letters and to phrase the sentences better, that they are more meaningful. I can make it even more visible with these borders. So for example, on Monday I got a camera. It sounds a lot better than just reading it in a monotone voice, one word after the other. So I'm going to use actually functional grammar in this example, and if I take a quick look here, there are certain groups. For example, a camera. This is a thing, or a who or a what, an object. Its camera is the noun, but it contains other words as well, a camera, and that by convention is coloured red. Similarly, a photograph is also red. A spider will also be red. If I click on the red brick, you'll notice that all of the things, or the who or what, or to use the technical term, participants, will be underlined in red. Generally, I only use this to actually draw attention to specific groups. In a similar manner then, a time, manner or place, for example on Monday, lights up in blue. We call this a circumstance, and similarly the blue brick will underline all of the circumstances. And finally the green brick are the various actions, or we call this process using functional grammar. They're typically verbs, but they may be larger word groups containing other kinds of words. So got, wanted to take, was, took, hate. Fine. So we'll put that back. Fine. So if I now click on the black brick, this actually separates out the sentences into a list. They are numbered. Sentence 1, 2, etc. And these small little hot potato icons appear. Hot Potatoes is a well-known software which can be used separately for making sentence puzzles. Here it's integrated into the system. So if I click on the first hot potato, up comes the hot potato exercise. I can actually play the audio.
On Monday I got the camera.
So I need to assemble the sentence now using the functional word groups. So on Monday. If I forget, this is not a test. We're not testing the learners. We're using this that the learners can actually learn by trial and error. There's a cheat button and the sentence will appear for a few seconds, but will disappear again before they have a chance to copy it letter by letter, so they're more or less forced to scan read. So on Monday I can cheat again, got a camera. And then finally when I'm ready I can check that. In this case it's correct, so exit. If I now click on the second hot potato, then a puzzle will appear using single words. So once again, on Monday and if I've forgotten I can cheat. The audio is also there if I want to play that. Got a camera. And check that, it's correct. Then the next stage is the third hot potato icon. And this time the words have been cut up into spelling patterns, or at least some of them. So on Monday I got a camera. How you actually split this up is entirely up to you. There are invisible markers that you can use in the editing mode. There are some guidance on doing this in the Reading to Learn materials, which can be ordered directly from David Rose in Australia, which are highly recommended to accompany this software. And similarly then we can also carry on in a similar manner with the next sentence. I wanted to take a photograph right away. Check. Yeah. And exit. So this will be familiar in fact to anyone who's used the Reading to Learn approaches with the cut up paper strips, etc. And of course you can print this page out and cut the words up if you want to make them a bit larger, and reinforce the activities in a paper-based form. One doesn't have to sit on the computer all of the time.